Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Dear students, Business Economics ECO 400 के लेक्चर नंबर 7 में खुश आमदीद। पहले की तरह हम पिछले लेक्चर को रिवाइज करेंगे थोड़े से टाइम के लिए और उसके बाद हम आज का लेक्चर शुरू करेंगे। सो व्हाट वी हैव लर्न इन द प्रीवियस लेक्चर, लेक्चर नंबर 6, तो पहले उसकी बात करते हैं। We learned that the consumer optimizing by choosing the point on the budget constraint that lies on the highest indifference curve. So the question was that what is the optimum point of the consumer? So we found that consumer would like to retain himself at the highest indifference curve to get maximum level of satisfaction, but of course the indifference curve will be tangent to the budget line at that point. So after this we have seen the effect of price and the effect of income on the choice of the consumers. So we have seen that if there is a change in income, whether upward or downward, so there will be parallel shift in the budget line, and of course the consumer will move to the higher indifference curve and he will get more of both products and he will be at higher level of satisfaction with the increase in income. And similarly, if the income goes down, he will buy less of both goods and he will be at equilibrium at a lower indifference curve. So income can affect the consumer choice. Similarly, the price can also affect the choice of the consumer. So whenever there is a change in the price of any of the product, consumer will change its demand, right? So as we have seen that, suppose we consider two goods, Pepsi and pizzas, and suppose if the price of Pepsi goes down, so budget line in this case rotates towards the y-axis, that is the Pepsi, and rotates counterclockwise and clockwise if there is increase in the price of the product. So price has change in price has two effects. So one is the income effect, the other is substitution effect. Now the income effect is reflected by the movement from a lower to a higher indifference curve, and the substitution effect is the change in consumption that arises because a price change encourages greater consumption of the good that has become relatively cheaper, right? So the substitution effect is reflected by movement along an indifference curve to a point with a different slope. So in case of income effect, consumer move between the indifference curve, lower to higher indifference curve, but in case of substitution effect, consumer move along the same indifference curve from one point to the other point. And the last what we have discussed, that how we can apply, what are the application of consumer theory. So we said that it is applicable in three ways. One, why demand curves can potentially slope upward. So there are some products, some goods for which the demand curve is upward slope or positively sloped, and we have seen that in case of Giffen good, first time defined by Robert Giffen, who was an economist. He defined this product and he said that whenever there is increase in the price of a given good, its demand will go up. So in case of given good, there is a positive relationship between price and demand, and this violates the law of demand. So we can have a positively sloped or upward sloping demand curve. Second application we have discussed, how wages affect labor supply. So we can see that if there is increase in the wages, how this affect in the labor supply, and we have seen two possibilities in this case. And when we have related this thing with the theory of consumer choice, so we said that if substitution effect is stronger than the income effect, so then supply will be positive. There will be increase in supply with increase in wage. But if income effect is stronger than the substitution effect, so then we have a negatively sloped supply curve. Last application that we have discussed last time, and that was how the interest rate affect household savings, right? So as we know that with the increase in interest rate, people would like to save more and consume less, and they want to get, because they want to invest and they want to get higher returns. How we can relate with this consumer theory? So we said that if the substitution effect is stronger, and in that case the consumer will save more and would like to increase their consumption in old age, right? And if income effect is stronger than the substitution effect, so then people will like to spend more at the present and like save less for the future or the old age consumptions. So this is how what we have seen, that how the consumer theory can be applied practically in different scenarios, in different environments. So students, this was the review of previous lecture. तो आज के लेक्चर की तरफ चलते हैं. आज एक हम इम्पॉर्टेंट जो पार्ट है इकोनॉमिक्स का, बिजनेस इकोनॉमिक्स का, वो हम शुरू करेंगे. एंड दिस इज़ वेरी बेसिक, दिस इज़ वेरी यूजफुल फॉर द subsequent chapters, subsequent lectures which we are going to deliver in next few lectures, and that is the cost of production. So we have divided this cost of production into 2 lectures. So we will discuss first part today's and then the second part in the next lecture. Now what we are going to learn, हम क्या सीखना चाहते हैं यहाँ पे. So first concept is what are costs, how we define costs, right? Number 2, cost as an opportunity cost, and third, production, how we are going to relate these 2 concepts, production and cost. So these are the things which we want to learn in this lecture, right? So as we know that economies are made up by thousands of firms who produce goods and services and supply in the economy, which are consumed by every one of us, by all of us, right? So there are a lot of firms, thousands of firms working in the economy and producing goods and services for the consumers, and we consume those goods. Like General Motors, they produce vehicles. Similarly, like if we talk about Pakistan, steel mill, they produce steels, and a lot of firms you can see around in the economies who are producing goods and services. Now when firms are producing goods and services, they had to make some important decisions. And what are those important decisions? Like, so what price they should charge for their product. So they have to make decision regarding price of the product. Similarly, they have to make decision regarding output of the product. So that objective is that they should fix that price and they should produce that much quantity of the product that maximizes her profit, right? So before going to decide the price and of course the output, so we have to discuss the concept cost. Cost is very important concept, and this can be useful or helpful to explain in making a decision, like decision about the price of the product. तो सबसे पहले हम cost की बात करते हैं. Now a firm cost of production includes all the opportunity cost of making its output of goods and services. So it is the all cost of production, a firm's all cost of productions, that includes all the opportunity costs of making its output of goods and services. Now here if you see the concept of opportunity cost. Now what is opportunity cost? As we learned, one of the basic principle of economics was that it is the cost what you want to give up to get something else. So that is the opportunity cost. So all cost of product, firm cost of production includes all sorts of opportunity cost of making an output and in the form of goods and services. Now there are 2 types of cost normally. One is the explicit cost and the other is implicit cost, right? So what is the explicit cost? The cost which जो कि आपको ज़ाहिरन नज़र आती है, जो आप एक firm pay करती है, right? It is a cost of production that include explicit cost, and a firm cost of production include both costs, that is explicit and implicit cost. Now what is explicit cost? Explicit costs are input costs that require a direct outlay of money by the firm. For example, if you want to hire a labor for production of good and service, so you need to pay wages. And the raw material which you are using for the production of goods, so if you pay for to get the raw material, so that is the explicit cost. Now what are the implicit cost of production? Implicit costs are input costs that do not require an outlet of money by the firm. For example, if Ahmed wants to start his own business, so if he is a computer software engineer, if he works somewhere, he can get $100 per week as a wage instead of doing his own business. So if he wants to start his own business, तो वो $100 जो उसको wage मिल रही थी, he has to sacrifice that wage and he is contributing in his own business. वो जो $100 वो sacrifice कर रहा है, give up कर रहा है, छोड़ रहा है in order to start his own business, to work in his own business, right? So that is the explicit cost. Similarly, the capital which he is going to invest in business, it has also certain cost. For example, if he is investing $30,000 in his business, so if he save that money and then invest in a bank, so he will get maybe $10,000 a month, right? Reward. So he is sacrificing that 10,000 or 5,000 the reward which he is getting from the bank. So these sort of costs are the explicit cost. Now, when a firm study about the cost, the ultimate objective of the firm is that how they can maximize their profit. As we know that profit is the difference between total revenue minus total cost. Profit can be written, अगर आप slide में देखें, तो profit is equal to total revenue minus total cost. Now it is easy to measure the total revenue, that price into quantity, but what we include in cost, as we just said that we learned that cost of production includes both explicit costs as well as implicit cost, and we learned that what is explicit cost, what is implicit cost, right? So if we subtract the total cost from the total revenue, we will get the profit of the firm. Now there are two profit terms which we would like to differentiate, जिनको हम explain करना चाहेंगे. One is the economic profit, the other is accounting profit. इन दोनों में क्या फ़र्क है? What is the difference between these two sorts of profits? And now economist measures firm's economic profit as the total revenue minus total cost, and that cost includes both explicit as well as implicit cost. So in case of economists ये measure करते हैं कि total cost जो है वो difference है between total revenue, profit is the difference between total revenue minus total cost, and that cost includes both explicit as well as implicit cost. Whereas accountants measure the accounting profit as the firm total revenue minus cost, and that cost includes only the explicit cost, right? So this is the major difference between these two types of profit. So when total revenue exceeds then the total cost, whether it is accounting profit or economic profit, so the firm will be earning profit. So in case of economic profit, so total revenue minus total cost, and that cost includes both types of cost, explicit and implicit cost. So if we subtract that from total revenue, we'll get the economic profit. But in case of accounting profit, we just subtract the explicit cost from total revenue. If you look in this slide, so we have two basically two sides. One is the economic, how economists view a firm profit, the other is how accountant view a firm profit. So if we look at the first left hand side, how economists views a firm, right? So we see that economic profit, with blue line is the economic profit. Then we have pink color with implicit cost and red color with explicit cost. So in case of and the revenue, of course, is the on the other side, the total revenue of the firm. So this, which is the in total. So if we subtract from the total revenue minus, if we subtract the total opportunity cost, which is the sum of implicit cost and explicit cost, we will get the profit of the firm. On the right hand side, how an accountant views a firm, so that is, if you see, we have a total revenue and it has two parts. One is profit, the other is cost. So if we subtract the cost, which is explicit cost, from the total revenue, the portion जो कि ब्लू शेडेड ब्लू कलर में है, ये दिस इज द अकाउंटिंग प्रॉफिट. अगर आप इन दोनों को देखें, अगर आप कंपेयर करें, तो यू कैन ईजिली कंक्लूड, आप एक नतीजा अखज़ कर सकते हैं, जो अकाउंटिंग प्रॉफिट है दैट इज बिगर देन द इकोनॉमिक प्रॉफिट. बट वेन एवर वी टॉक इन इकोनॉमिक्स, वी टॉक अबाउट प्रॉफिट, तो प्लीज़ कीप इन माइंड हम इकोनॉमिक प्रॉफिट की बात करेंगे, विल बी नॉट टॉकिंग अबाउट द अकाउंटिंग प्रॉफिट. तो जब कभी अगर अगले लेक्चर्स में हम एक प्रॉफिट की बात करेंगे, फर्म के प्रॉफिट की बात करेंगे, तो उसका मतलब ये है कि वी आर टॉकिंग अबाउट इकोनॉमिक प्रॉफिट, वी आर नॉट टॉकिंग अबाउट accounting profit. So I hope you have understand the difference between economic and accounting profit. मैं दोबारा इसको रिपीट करता हूँ कि economic profit is the difference between total revenue minus total cost, and in this case total cost includes both explicit as well as implicit cost of production. And in case of accountant profit, and it is the difference between total revenue minus total cost, and that difference, and that in that case the cost includes only explicit costs, that is the cost of labor, that is the cost of raw material, and so on. Now we talk about the production function. So, and later on we'll relate these two concepts, cost and production. Now what is the production function? The production function shows the relationship between the quantity of inputs used to make a good and the quantity of output of that good. So it is basically the maximum amount of output that can be produced with the available units of factors of production. So that is known as the production function. So suppose if अगर आप इस slide में देखें, we have written a production function. Normally we have a firm has two factors of production. One is the capital, the other is labor. So we can say that Q is a function of capital and labor, where Q is the quantity of output produced, K is the unit of capital used to produce that output, L is the labor input, the units of labor used in the production process to produce that output. So this is a functional form of a production function, and which is written as Q is a function of capital and labor. Now when we discuss production function, तो हमारे ज़हन में दो टाइम पीरियड आते हैं. There are two time periods, time horizon की बात करेंगे, and that is the short run and the long run decision. The firm has to make decisions in the short run, and firm has to make decision in the long run. If we talk about the short run is the time period in which certain variables or certain inputs are fixed. You cannot change that. Only one of the factor is variable factor of production, and you can change only that factor to increase or decrease the output. आप सिर्फ उसी फैक्टर को कम और बेश कर सकते हैं. अगर आप चाहते हैं, अगर आप आउटपुट ज़्यादा प्रोड्यूस करें तो उसकी ज़्यादा क्वांटिटी यूज़ करते हैं उस फैक्टर ऑफ प्रोडक्शन की. अगर आप चाहते हैं कि कम प्रोड्यूस करें तो उसकी मिकदार कम यूज़ करते हैं. इन द लॉन्ग रन, so firm has to make decision in the short run while keeping certain factor of production as a fixed and one of the factors of production as a variable. In the long run, all factors of production are variable, whether it is capital, whether it is labor. So it is all factors of production are variables and that can be changed. So if the firm want to produce more, if the firm want to produce less, right, so they can make decisions, they can increase all factors of production because they have a time, the time period is long run, so they can use all factors of production in the production process to produce the required level of output. यहीं पे हमें differentiate करना होगा between fixed and variable inputs. So as we said that there is a short run time period in which certain input are fixed and the other are variable, right? So normally capital is fixed in the short run and labor is only the variable factors of production in the short run. When we talk about variable inputs, so it means that all factors of production, all inputs are variable in the long run, right? You can change capital in the long run, you can change labor. If the firm want to produce more in the long run, so they can buy new machinery, they can install new equipment, they can build new buildings because they have enough time with them, so they can change their capital along with labor, so they can produce the required output, right? But in the short run, capital is fixed, they cannot change the capital, they cannot buy a line, they cannot build a building, they cannot buy a modern technology, modern machinery and fix and the equipment. Only the variable factors of production in the short run is labor. So if the firm want to increase or decrease the output, they can only change the labor. So this is how we can differentiate between the fixed and variable inputs. There are three types of production function normally that one has to look into. One is the linear production function. Now when we talk about linear production function, the shape of linear production will be like that is a straight line. So when we say that the production function is linear, it means inputs are perfect substitute, right? As we said that Q is a function of capital and labor. Output is depending on capital and labor and can be produced with using certain units of capital, certain units of labor. So when we say that the linear, we have a linear production function and inputs are perfect substitute, so we have this production function can be written as is equal to AK plus BL. And when we say that K and L are the inputs are perfect substitute of each other, तो क्या होगा कि you can either use 100% of capital to produce that product, or you can use 100% of labor to produce that output. So because these two factors are perfect substitute. And the second sort of type of production function is the Leontief production function. Now what is that? Leontief production function is that sort of production function in which inputs are used in fixed proportion, and in this case we have L-shaped isoquant or L-shaped production function, right? So L-shape means that is if you want to produce a certain quantity of output, say let us say 100 unit, so you have to use capital and labor as a factor of production in a fixed proportion, right? So you have to use fixed quantity of both inputs to produce that level of output. So that sort of production function in which inputs are used in fixed proportion and the shape of production or the isoquant is L shape. In that case, that sort of production function are known as the Leontief production function. And the third production function, the third type of production function which is normally used in economics is the Cobb-Douglas production function. Inputs have some degree of substitutability between each other, right? You can substitute, but they are not perfect substitute, right? For example, if you want to increase some units of labor, you have to sacrifice some units of capital. You can decrease some units of capital. So they have the degree of substitutability. You can substitute capital on labor and labor on capital, but not 100%. In this case, we can write the production function. अगर आप slide को देखें तो Q is equal to function F into K L, and then Cobb-Douglas production function can be written as K की power A, L की power B, right? So this is the form of a Cobb-Douglas production function. And now we'll talk about different productivity measures, right? When we talk about production function, we need to discuss different productivity measures. First productivity measure is the total product, right? Total quantity produced, right? So how we define that? Total product is the maximum amount produced with given amounts of input, right? The total output produced by the firm with the given amount of inputs is known as the total product. इसको एक्सप्लेन करते हैं with the help of Cobb-Douglas production function जिसकी हमने अभी बात की, that can be written as Q is equal to K. Suppose A is 0.5, L is also 0.5. Now suppose that K is fixed at 16 units, and short run Cobb-Douglas production function can be written as Q is equal to, now just substitute 16 in place of K, because K is fixed at 16 की power 0.5, L की power 0.5, so that is equal to, just simplify this, we'll get 4L की power 0.5. Now to total product when 100 units of labor are used will be, suppose if there are 100 units which are used in the production process, अगर आप 100 units labor के use करते हैं तो total product किसके बराबर होगी, and Q will be equal to 4 into 100 की power 0.5, and if we simplify this, 4 into 10, and that is equal to 40 units. So with the use of 16 unit of capital which is fixed and 100 units of labor, the firm can produce 40 units of the output. So this output is known as the total product. So total product is the maximum output produced with given amount of inputs. तो यहाँ हमने देखा कि हमारे पास given input कौन सी है, capital है और labor है. Capital is fixed जिसके हम 16 यूनिट यूज कर रहे हैं in the production process. Labor is the variable factor of production जिसके हम 100 यूनिट्स यूज कर रहे हैं. अगर हम 100 लेबर के यूनिट्स यूज करते हैं, 16 कैपिटल के यूज करते हैं, how much the firm can produce, that is the 40 units of a product. And now the second productivity measure is the average product of an input. What is the average product of an input? It measures of output produced per unit of input, right? So it can be calculated as average product of labor is equal to Q, that is the total product, divided by the units of labor. So in this case the firm is interested to measure, to calculate the average product of labor, the output produced by per worker, right? Suppose जैसा कि हमने पिछली एग्जांपल में बात की कि अगर 100 यूनिट्स लेबर के लगाए जाते हैं तो 40 यूनिट्स प्रोड्यूस होते हैं. तो इस केस में अगर हम जब एवरेज की बात करें तो हम मालूम करना चाहते हैं कि हर वर्कर जो है, पर वर्कर जो है आउटपुट कितनी प्रोड्यूस हो रही है. सो दैट कॉन्सेप्ट इज नोन एज द एवरेज प्रोडक्ट ऑफ लेबर. इसी को एक्सप्लेन करते हैं विद द हेल्प ऑफ एग्जांपल. वी कंटिन्यू विद द सेम एग्जांपल ऑफ Cobb-Douglas प्रोडक्शन फंक्शन. Q is equal to K 0.5, L की पावर 0.5. Now suppose if inputs are K is equal to 16 units and L is equal to 60 units, तो इस चीज़ को अगर आप कन्वर्ट करें, यूज़ करें, so what would be the average product of labor? Just substitute these values. K 16.5, L 16.5 over L, so is equal to, if we simplify this, we'll get 1. The answer will get 1. So the average product of labor is 1 when 16 units of capital are used, 16 units of labor are used. The average product of labor will be 1 unit produced by each worker. Similarly, we can also calculate the average product of capital, which is the second factor of production in this production process, that measures the output of an average unit of capital. Similar example अगर हम use करें जिसमें Q is equal to K 0.5, L 0.5. Now if inputs are K is equal to 16, L is equal to again 16. So what would be the average product of capital? APK, average product is denoted by APK, is equal to P, total product, divided by Q divided by K, because since it is the average product of capital. So just substitute the values. 16.5 over 16 is equal to 1. So the average product of capital is also 1. So by what we learned, that in case of average product of labor or capital, whatever is the factor of production, so the firm is interested to calculate the output produced by per worker and per capital, right? So whatever is the factor. So अगर 16 यूनिट्स लेबर के लगाते हैं तो उनमें से हर एक वर्कर कितनी चीज़ें प्रोड्यूस कर रहा है, how much is the contribution of each worker in the total product. So that is the average product of labor concept. इसी को आगे बढ़ाते हैं और हम देखते हैं कि एक तीसरा जो मैयर है प्रोडक्टिविटी मैयर इज़ द मार्जिनल प्रोडक्ट ऑफ इनपुट. अभी आपने पढ़ा होगा, हमने पढ़ा था लास्ट टाइम इन द फर्स्ट लेक्चर, वन ऑफ द 10 प्रिंसिपल दैट रैशनल पीपल थिंक एट मार्जिन, सो दे कंपेयर मार्जिनल प्रोडक्टिविटी, मार्जिनल आउटपुट, राइट. सो दैट इज़ वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट कॉन्सेप्ट, right? So we would like to learn in detail this concept. Marginal product on an input is equal to, it is the change in total output attributable to the last unit of an input, right? So marginal product is the change in total product due to one additional unit of इनपुट, राइट. सपोज मैं बात करता हूँ कि अगर एक फर्म है जो कि 100 यूनिट्स लेबर के लगाती है और फिक्स यूनिट ऑफ कैपिटल के, एंड दे प्रोड्यूस 1000 मीटर ऑफ क्लॉथ, राइट. Now suppose if the firm increase, since capital is fixed, it will remain same, and if the firm increases the units of labor from 100 to 101, so how much is the increase in total product? And suppose the total product is 1050. Now how much is the change in total output due to one extra unit of labor? पहले अगर हमने 100 फर्म ने 100 मजदूर लगाए, 100 वर्कर्स लगाए काम में, वो कितने प्रोड्यूस कर रहे हैं कपड़ा? 1000 मीटर कपड़ा प्रोड्यूस कर रहे हैं. अगर फर्म एक लेबर बढ़ा देती है, 101 लेबर काम में लगाती है, तो हाउ मच इज द चेंज इन टोटल आउटपुट? दैट इज 1050. सो ड्यू टू वन एक्स्ट्रा यूनिट ऑफ लेबर द चेंज इन टोटल प्रोडक्ट इज 50. So marginal product is equal to total change in Q over change in L. That is change in Q is 50, change in L is 1. So due to one extra unit of labor, the addition in total output is 50. So marginal product in this case is 50, which is the addition in total output due to one extra unit of labor. So we can talk about both the marginal product of labor as well as marginal product of capital. Marginal product of labor can be denoted, can be calculated as change dQ over dL. You can use delta Q or delta L also, and it is the same. So MPL can be written as delta Q over delta L, right? So it is the same. Now change in measure produced by the last worker, slope of the short run production function with respect to labor. So it is also the slope of short run production function with respect to only labor. If we talk about labor, the change in output due to change in L is also known as the marginal product of labor. So when we talk about marginal product of capital, it is the dQ over dK. It can also be MPK, can also be written as delta Q over delta L. That is the change in output due to change in labor. So it is the measure of output produced by the last unit of capital. When capital is allowed to vary in the short run, MPK is the slope of also production function with respect to capital. So again, if we suppose that capital is allowed to change in the short run, अगर हम capital को allow करते हैं कि short run में तब्दील हो सकता है, the marginal product of capital is also the slope of production function with respect to capital. So this is how we can define the marginal product. So people, normally firms, look at the marginal product of capital and labor and then decide how much they continue to change or increase the units of input to further increase the level of output. So this is a very, very important concept used by the firms to make decision about the output produced. इन्हीं तीन इसी जो कॉन्सेप्ट अभी हमने डिस्कस किए, हमने डिफरेंट प्रोडक्टिविटी मेजर्स की बात की, जिसमें हमने फर्स्ट वी हैव डिस्कस द टोटल प्रोडक्ट, देन वी हैव डिस्कस्ड अबाउट द एवरेज प्रोडक्ट ऑफ लेबर एंड कैपिटल बोथ, एंड द थर्ड प्रोडक्टिविटी मेजर जिसकी हमने बात की, एंड दैट वाज द मार्जिनल प्रोडक्ट ऑफ लेबर एंड मार्जिनल प्रोडक्ट ऑफ कैपिटल. एंड नाउ we can explain all these three productivity measure with the help of diagram. अगर आप देखें, आपको स्लाइड पे नज़र आ रहा है, we have a diagram here. On y-axis we are measuring quantity of output produced, and on x-axis we are measuring the quantity of labor being used in the production process. आप देखें, we have a production function with black line, काली line के साथ हमारे पास production function है, which is the total product curve. We have the marginal product curve. अगर आप देखें कि पहले marginal product बढ़ती है up to certain point, then it reaches at maximum, then goes down. इसी तरह अगर हम total product की बात करें, it continue to increase up to certain point, reaches its maximum, एक अपने maximum level पे पहुंचती है, और उसके बाद अगर आप units of labor लगाते हैं production process में, ज़्यादा चीज़ें produce करते रहते हैं, तो it starts coming down. इसी तरह average product अगर आप देखें, there is increase in the average product up to a certain point, then till the point where marginal product and average product दोनों बराबर होती हैं, और उसके बाद average product में कमी आनी शुरू हो जाती है. So how we can explain all these three sorts of productivity measures? अगर आप देखें कि whenever there is increase in total product, the marginal product will also increase, right? So every product is also increasing. But when marginal product reaches at a maximum, then after this point, average products total product starts becoming flatter, right? So with the increase in units of capital after this point, marginal product will start going down. And if the firms continue to hire more labor, the point will come, and that is the point A, suppose, where the marginal product is 0. So when marginal product is 0, at that point, if you look at in the line, total product is maximum. So आफ्टर दिस पॉइंट जहाँ पे मार्जिनल प्रोडक्ट ज़ीरो है और टोटल प्रोडक्ट मैक्सिमम है, अगर फर्म फर्दर कंटिन्यू रखती है एंड दे यूज़ मोर यूनिट्स ऑफ लेबर टू प्रोड्यूस मोर आउटपुट, तो मार्जिनल प्रोडक्ट अगर आप देखें इज़ बिकमिंग नेगेटिव और टोटल प्रोडक्ट जो है वो कम होना शुरू हो जाती है. सो वी हैव थ्री पॉसिबिलिटीज़, थ्री स्टेजेस ऑफ प्रोडक्शन. द फर्स्ट स्टेज में जब मार्जिनल प्रोडक्ट बढ़ती है तो टोटल प्रोडक्ट भी बढ़ती है. Second में when marginal product is maximum, total product marginal product is 0, and in third stage when marginal product is negative, total product is going down. So the first stage of production is known as increasing marginal returns, that with the increase in unit of input, output is increasing. The second stage is known as diminishing marginal returns, that with the increase in units of labor, there is decrease in the marginal productivity of each additional unit of labor. That is why we call it diminishing marginal returns. And the third stage, negative marginal returns with the increase in units of labor in the production process. Each additional unit give negative returns, so that's why we call it negative marginal returns. So we have, the firm has to face three stages of production, first stage, second stage and third stage. Now what is the favorite stage of production for the firm? कौन सी stage है जिसमें firm चाहेगी कि वो produce करे? And that is the second stage of production, where the total product of the firm is maximum and the firm is also facing diminishing marginal return to scale. So that is one of the stage where the firm is producing at its maximum level, at its optimum level. This is how we can explain the relationship between three productivity measures, which is the total product, average product and marginal product. And now from the production function to the total cost curve. So these are how we can relate these two concepts, that is the production function and the total cost of the firm, the relationship between the firm quantity a firm can produce and its cost determine pricing decisions. So this helps, ये मदद करती है if we combine and understand the relationship between production function and total cost. So this can help the firms, the managers or the businessman to make pricing decisions. And when we relate these two curves, that production function and total cost curve, तो हम बता सकते हैं कि how the firm can make decision about the prices, and that is we are going to discuss in the next few lectures when we will talk about different market structures where we are going to use these concept of output produced or production function and cost curves. अब हम कोशिश करते हैं कि we'll explain the production function and the total cost curve with the help of an example, with the help of a table. अगर आप इस table में देखें, we have a number of columns. First column में where you is using the number of workers, the laborers used in the production process. In second column में अगर आप देखें, if you look in the second column, it's the quantity of output, and in this case the quantity of cookies produced per hour by the workers. And then in the third column we are measuring marginal product of labor, cost of factory, and then cost of workers. Now if we add up the cost of factory, which is fixed cost, with the cost of workers, the wages of labor, so we'll get the total cost of input, cost of factory plus cost of workers. So अगर आप देखें if we use 0 units of workers, then output is 0 also. Of course no marginal product in this case, but again cost of factory, that is the fixed cost, is there, which is $30. So cost of worker is 0 again because we are not using any labor in the production process, but the total cost is $30 because it is the summation or the sum of cost of factory plus cost of workers. 30 plus 0, that is equal to 30. If the firm use 1 unit of labor, it can produce 50 unit or quantity of cookies per hour. And then what will be the marginal product in this case? So as we know that marginal product is the difference, हमारे पास जो फार्मूला है marginal product का, and that is equal to change in Q due to change in L. Now what is the change in Q? That is 50 minus 0, Q2 minus Q1, 50 minus 0. Change in labor is 1 minus 0, so 50 units of output, marginal product of labor is produced. And then of course the cost is fixed, certain cost is fixed, which is $30. Now the cost of this worker is 10 and then the total cost is 40. Similarly, if we use the second unit of labor in the production process, how much is the quantity produced now, which is 90 units of cookies per hour, and then what will be the marginal product in this case? 90 minus 50, that is change in Q, and how much is the change in labor? That is 2 minus 1. So 90 minus 40 is 40, 90 minus 50 is 40. 40 divided by 2 minus 1, which is 1. So marginal product is 40. So this is how you can calculate the marginal product of labor here. So again we have a fixed cost remains same for all units of production, 30 Then cost of labor worker is rises from 10 to 20 now, and the total cost is 50. Similarly, if we continue further to produce use more 1 unit of labor, 120. So 120, and then what is the now marginal product in this case? 120 minus 90, so that is almost equal to 30, and then what is the change in labor here? 2 minus 1, 3 minus 2, 1. So 30 by 1 is equal to 30. Fixed cost is 30. The total cost now will cost of the worker will be 30 now, and the total cost will be 60. So if you continue, so you can go with this process as much as you want to produce. So we can use this information and we can draw the total cost curve, जिसको हम अगली स्लाइड में एक्सप्लेन करेंगे. तो इसी जो पिछले टेबल में हमने एक टेबल बनाया, उसके ज़रिए हम प्रोडक्शन फंक्शन बना सकते हैं. वी कैन ड्रा द कास्ट ऑफ द कर आल्सो. अगर आप देखें इन द फर्स्ट लेफ्ट हैंड साइड वी हैव ए ग्राफ ऑफ प्रोडक्शन फंक्शन. सो अगर जब आप देखें कि इफ़ यू यूज सर्टेन यूनिट्स ऑफ लेबर, here the labor is the only variable factors of production. Capital is fixed, which is, and the fixed cost जैसा कि हमने देखा कि वो कितनी है, 30 units of labor. Now by using different units of labor the firm can produce. पिछली स्लाइड में अगर हम जाते हैं दोबारा, कि अगर आप देखें कि number of workers started from 0 to 5, so corresponding to this column we have a quantity, total output produced by these workers, and quantity of cookies produced, and you can see that, and that is start from 0, 50, 90, 120, 140 and 150. तो इन दोनों कॉलम्स का रिलेशनशिप जो है, हम एक्स एक्सिस पे नंबर ऑफ वर्कर्स ले रहे हैं, वाई एक्सिस पे हम टोटल आउटपुट प्रोड्यूस ले रहे हैं. इन दोनों अगर कॉलम के ज़रिए हम प्रोडक्शन फंक्शन ड्रा कर सकते हैं. अगर आप देखें कि first when 0 workers 0 output, so we have a point here, let us say point A here, and then 1 worker, and against this 1 worker we have a point B, that worker is producing 50 unit. Then against second worker, so which is producing almost 90 units, we have a C point. Then if we add up another worker, third worker, that is producing 120 units, so we have point D here. So if we further increase with then we have almost 140 units for how much is for the fourth workers, 140. So we have a point E here, and for fifth worker, when we use fifth worker in the production process, the total output produced is 150 units, so we have a point F. So if we combine all these points A, B, C, D, E and F, अगर हम इनको मिला दें तो हमारे पास जो कर्व बनता है उसको हम प्रोडक्शन फंक्शन कहते हैं. इसी तरह हम दूसरे डायग्राम में राइट साइड पे हम कोशिश करते हैं कि हम टोटल कास्ट कर्व जो है फर्म का वो ड्रॉ करें, और इसके लिए हम अगर आप पिछले टेबल पे जाते हैं, अगर आप देखें, we'll use the first column which is number of workers, and we'll use the last column of the table which is total cost, right? So we'll measure total cost on y axis and number of workers on x axis. अगर आप देखें, when we have a 0 so we as not worker here, I have mistakenly, we have to take these two column, quantity का वाला column हम लेंगे x axis पे, और total cost का column लेंगे, because the total cost curve is the relationship between the output produced and the cost which is incurred to produce that output, right? So sorry, we have to measure, we have to take quantity output produced on x-axis and total cost on y-axis. So when we say that 0 units are produced, against 0 units we have the total cost which is 30, so we have a point A again here in this diagram. After this, अगर हम देखें, when 50 units are produced, how much is the cost? Against 50 units we have 40 units, so we have a point B here, when 90 units are produced, against 90 units we have a cost which is total cost against 90 units is 50. So अगर हम 50 और 90 के अगेंस्ट पॉइंट लें तो we have another point C. इसी तरह फर्दर जो है further output is 120 के अगेंस्ट the cost is 60. We have a point D, and then we have a 140 output. 140 के अगेंस्ट जो हमारी कास्ट है that is 70. We have a point E here, and then next we have a output which is 150 units, and the cost, total cost is 80 units, and we have a point F here. So if we combine or join these points A, B, C, D, E and F, we will get the total cost curve. Now अगर हम इनके रिलेशन की बात करें, अगर आप देखें जब टोटल कास्ट व्हेन प्रोडक्शन बढ़ती है तो टोटल कास्ट भी बढ़ रही है. सो व्हेन टोटल आउट फर्दर राइजेस, प्रोडक्शन फंक्शन इज बिकमिंग फ्लैटर एंड टोटल कास्ट becoming steeper, means total cost is increasing more, right? So जब शुरू में टोटल प्रोडक्ट बढ़ती है, प्रोडक्शन बढ़ती है, आउटपुट बढ़ती है, तो कॉस्ट भी बढ़ती है, right? But when this process continue and we take this further, टोटल प्रोडक्ट बढ़ाते रहते हैं तो कॉस्ट प्रोडक्शन फंक्शन जो है it start becoming flatter. What it means flatter, that total products start becoming constant, and in cost will becoming steeper. What it means that the cost starts increasing more further, right? So if the firm continue to produce, so this is how we can explain and the relationship between production function and total cost, right? So these two curves or these two concepts are very, very important, and we are going to use these concepts in the next lecture, जिसमें हम बात करेंगे different market structures की. वहाँ हम product की बात करेंगे एक साइड पे हम cost की बात करेंगे, compare करेंगे कि firm किस तरह दोनों concept को use कर, how they can maximize their profit, how they can decide the price of the product and quantity produced in the market. And this was all about today's lecture. And now I will summarize this lecture in 5. I will try to summarize in this lecture in 5 to 10 minutes, and then we'll end up with this lecture today. From where we started that the goal of the firm is to maximize profit, which is the prime objective of any firm, right? The firm want to maximize their profit, right? So when they produce, the objective behind is to maximize profit, how they can maximize profit. Now the profit is the difference between total revenue minus total cost. Now as we learned that there are two sorts of profit. One is the accounting profit, the other is economic profit. Now what is the difference between these two types of profit, accounting profit and economic profit? If we talk about economic profit, so we said that it is the difference between total revenue minus total cost, and the cost here includes both types of costs, that is explicit and implicit cost. So when we talk about accountant profit, so that is the difference between total revenue minus total cost, and in that case cost includes only the explicit cost component, right? So the ultimate objective of the firm is to maximize profit. और जब हम economics में profit की बात करेंगे in the subsequent lectures, तो please keep in mind, ये याद रखिएगा, we'll be talking about economic profit, will not be talking about accounting profit. Now it is important, जब हम फर्म के बिहेवियर की बात करते हैं, उसको एनालाइज करने की बात करते हैं, तो इट इज़ इम्पॉर्टेंट टू इंक्लूड ऑल अपॉर्चुनिटी कॉस्ट ऑफ प्रोडक्शन, राइट? तो हम सारे जितने भी कॉस्ट ऑफ प्रोडक्शन, अपॉर्चुनिटी कॉस्ट ऑफ प्रोडक्शन है, दैट इज एक्सप्लिसिट, वेदर इट इज एक्सप्लिसिट और इम्प्लिसिट, तो उसको हम शामिल करेंगे. उसके बाद हमने बात की some opportunity costs are explicit, whether other are opportunity costs are implicit. Now what is explicit cost? The cost which basically directly firm is bearing and paying in terms of capital, like the cost of the wages, cost of labor, that is wages, the cost of raw material. These are the explicit cost. What are the implicit cost जिसकी हमने बात की? Implicit cost की जब आप बात करते हैं, so these are the cost which are foregone or gave up by the person who has started his own business. Like for example, if I want to start my own business and I am working in this university in ComSats, I am earning some money. So if I leave this job and start my own business, so I have forgiven my salary, so which is basically one of the implicit cost. Moreover, I have certain savings in banks on which I am getting interest annually or monthly, right? So I am also forgiving that interest also. So that is the implicit cost. So in case of when we talk about economic profit, when we talk about any economic activity, so we mean both implicit and explicit cost. Now a firm cost reflects in the production process. Now we have discussed, then उसके बाद हमने बात की production function की. Production function क्या चीज़ होती है? We said that it is the maximum output that can be produced with the available units of capital and labor. और इसमें हमने 3 production function की बात की. हमने कहा we have a linear production function. What is that? In that case, inputs are perfect substitute, right? Suppose किसी चीज़ को produce करने के लिए अगर हमारे पास 2 factors of production हैं, one is the capital and the other is labor, so we can use either 100% capital to produce that output or use 100% capital, because inputs are perfect substitute, and we have a straight line isoquant curve. And then we have talked about Leontief production function, and we said that Leontief production function in which the inputs are used in fixed proportion, right? So you have to use if the firm want to produce a fixed unit of output, like suppose 100 units of output, so they have to use capital and labor in fixed proportion, like 5 units of capital and 5 units of labor. And then the third production function जिसकी हमने बात की, that was the Cobb-Douglas production function. In this production function, we discussed that inputs are substitute, but they are not perfect substitute. There is a degree of substitutability between these 2 factors, but not perfect substitute, right? And lastly, what we talked about the relationship between the production function and the total cost, and जिसको हमने एक टेबल के जरिए एक्सप्लेन किया. उसके बाद we have drawn the production function curve and the total cost curve, और दोनों को जब हमने कंपेयर किया, we said that हमने कहा कि जब टोटल प्रोडक्ट बढ़ती है तो टोटल कॉस्ट भी बढ़ती है, but if the total product further continues to increase, the production function or the total product curve starts becoming flatter and cost curve becoming steeper. So this was all about today's lecture. आज का लेक्चर यहाँ पे इख्तिताम करते हैं, और एक आपके लिए एडवाइस एज यूजुअल, आप घर जाके प्रैक्टिस कीजिएगा मैक्सिमम जितनी हो सकती है, बिकॉज इकोनॉमिक्स में टेबल्स की, ग्राफ्स की, कैलकुलेशंस की, मैथमेटिक्स की तरह जितनी प्रैक्टिस करेंगे उतनी ज़्यादा आसानी से आपको तेज़ी से समझ आ जाएगी. सो यहीं से हम दूसरा नेक्स्ट लेक्चर इंशाल्लाह शुरू करेंगे. आज के लिए अल्लाह हाफ़िज़. सी यू नेक्स्ट टाइम. गॉड ब्लेस यू.